AI can generate thousands of songs in, like, literal minutes. But how do you make one of those songs truly yours? Are we just pulling a lever on a digital slot machine, crossing our fingers and hoping for a lucky hit? Or are we actively making intentional decisions to actually produce a piece of music? Well, in this explainer, we're going to answer that exact question.
Today, we're shifting our mindset completely. We are making that leap from simply being an AI creator to becoming a true music producer. This is all about going way beyond the basics in Suno. It's time to take full control of the creative journey.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for intentional workflows. First up, the mindset of a producer. Second, the 3-pass production process. Third, controlled experiments. Fourth, protecting your song's message. And finally, finishing up and building catalogs. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. The mindset of a producer.
So, one of the biggest misconceptions out there about AI music is that great songs just pop out of a single lucky prompt. But honestly, in reality, producing a polished song is a super iterative, hands-on process. Great tracks do not come from chance. They come from your human taste leading the tech. Just look at the stark contrast here between just crossing your fingers and actively leading the AI. On the left, we've got a generic style prompt. It leaves way too much to chance. But on the right, that is a master prompt. See, Suno uses prompt weighting, which basically means the very beginning of your prompt gets the most attention. So you absolutely want to lead with the emotional experience. Notice those vivid details, things like warm, intimate, or mature male baritone, and lyrics remain the primary focus. When you use a detailed, living master prompt like this, you stop throwing darts in the dark, and you start building a recognizable artistic identity. It's a total game changer.
Section 2. The 3-pass production process.
Listen, as a producer, you just can't solve every single problem at once. If you try to fix a wonky melody, a weird lyric, and, a clumsy drum fill all in one single generation, you are going to end up pulling your hair out. You have to treat production kind of like an assembly line. So stick to this strict rule. Focus on just one objective per pass. Pass 1 is all about the big picture, the melody, the emotional feel, the overall arrangement. Literally just ignore minor lyric issues here. Once that foundation is rock solid, then you move to Pass 2. This is where you leverage the remix feature to dial in the lyrics, fix pronunciation, and smooth out the flow. And finally, Pass 3. That's for fine-tuning your instrumentation, tweaking the vocal maturity, and perfecting that emotional pacing. Remember, one pass, one objective.
Section 3. Controlled experiments.
Okay, welcome to the laboratory phase of production. This is where we test our audio and actually guide the AI. The absolutely crucial point here is what we call the one-variable rule. Think about it. If you change everything at once, say you swap the singer's voice, trade a piano for a guitar, and drastically slow down the tempo all in one go, you will literally never figure out what actually caused the song to get better or worse. Instead, you've got to change just one variable at a time. Maybe just adjust the tempo, or just tweak the vocal tone. This scientific approach teaches you exactly how Suno responds to your specific directions.
Now, when you're running these experiments, never, ever evaluate a song from memory. I can't stress this enough. It's an absolute necessity. You need to open 2 generations simultaneously, side by side. Your ears are just going to make much better decisions through direct, real-time comparison. Ask yourself, okay, which chorus lands harder? Which vocal actually feels believable? Which arrangement sounds less artificial? Side-by-side listening is, for sure, the only way to truly know.
Moving on to Section 4, protecting your song's message.
All the technical production wizardry in the world means absolutely nothing if we lose sight of this one fundamental truth. If the listener can't understand the words, the production has failed. This is a massive, massive production philosophy. The lyrics and the emotional message behind them, they always have to be the star of the show. In fact, sometimes the smartest production decision you can possibly make is removing an instrument or simplifying the arrangement just to create more emotional impact. Basically, never, ever let the production bury your message.
And to make sure that message actually translates in the real world, you have to test it. Here is a rapid-fire environment checklist for you. A mix can sound absolutely incredible on high-end studio headphones, but then sound incredibly muddy when you play it in your car. So before you finalize a track, you really need to listen to it on a phone speaker, earbuds, the car stereo, a basic Bluetooth speaker, and your laptop speakers. If your lyrics disappear in any of those environments, well, the production just needs a bit more work.
Also, try to think of your song's emotional dynamics like a movie journey. You really don't want the entire track to just stay at one constant energy level. Honestly, that gets exhausting for the listener pretty quickly. Instead, maybe start with a quiet beginning that pulls them in. Then, let the tension grow in the second minute. Give them a massive emotional release for the climax around minute 3, and finish up with a reflective ending. That dynamic journey matters so much more than just constant driving intensity.
As you're building this journey, keep an eye out for recurring AI habits. AI loves, and I mean loves, to oversing simple lyrics and cram every single musical space with unnecessary vocal runs or just way too many instruments. Once you recognize these habits, that's your cue to step in as a producer. You fix that over-singing by remixing specifically for a more restrained vocal. You fix the clutter by telling the AI to simplify the arrangement in your prompt. Over time, you'll naturally learn when a quick remix will fix the issue versus when you just need to bite the bullet and regenerate completely from scratch.
Section 5. Finishing and building catalogs.
Okay, let's zoom out to the big picture of establishing your long-term artistic identity. I want you to consider the number 27. See, there comes a point where version 27 is not really significantly better than version 18. Perfection is the enemy of publishing, right? You just have to ask yourself, does this version communicate the message? Will someone out there be encouraged by this? If the answer is yes, sometimes declaring a song finished is literally the best production decision you can make.
But wait, when a song is finished, do not just leave it floating around in the cloud somewhere. I highly recommend using this essential archival checklist. For every single finished song, make sure you save the original journal entry, the final polished lyrics, the exact style prompt you used, your cover art, and both the high-quality WAV file and the MP4. Keeping all this organized is super critical because, trust me, great ideas often deserve a second life months down the road, and you're going to want all those assets ready to go.
Because ultimately, you aren't just making individual songs, you are building a catalog. One of the biggest mindset shifts is realizing that your songs should actually complement each other. Ask yourself, is there a consistent emotional thread across your work? When you use consistent master prompts and cohesive cover art, your listeners will actually begin to recognize your unique artistic style over time. A well-built catalog tells a story that is way bigger than any single song could on its own. So I want to leave you with this final, kind of provocative thought. The longer you create, the less you should think about the AI, and the more you should think like a producer. Technology generates the possibilities, right? It can give you thousands of options. But is your discernment creating the art? At the end of the day, it's your human taste, your specific message, and your craftsmanship that transforms a machine's raw output into your song. Let that philosophy guide every single prompt you write. Thanks so much for exploring this explainer with me, and hey, happy producing!